Hello and welcome back to Brony Adventures 4. Sorry for only covering 3 chapters in my last video, but PS5 not much time on that. So really I had no choice and I didn't want to make y'all wait too long for the next one. So yeah. Sorry again about that, and let's get started. Chapter 4, The Power of 6 Ponies. Draconic says, "Your dad, the old, most evil Dark Pony King? Have you lost it?" Thunderstorm says, "He came to me in a dream a long time ago. He's changed." Draconic says, "A dream?" Thunderstorm says, "Mother showed me. They got back together. Mother trusts him. Why shouldn't I?" Draconic says, "Fine. Where is he buried?" Thunderstorm says, "Under my castle that's in Dark Pony territory. In a secret chamber. I'll get him." Draconic says, "I'm coming." Thunderstorm says, "Cool. Let's go, bro." Draconic says, "Bro, good to hear you call me that again." Thunderstorm says, "Good to see and hear you again. Now, let's go." Draconic says, "Still show off." In Thunderstorm's castle in Dark Pony territory, at the entrance to the secret chamber. Thunderstorm opens the door. They both walk in. Draconic's eyes go wide. Draconic says, "He's still a full body. Perfectly preserved." Thunderstorm says, "This chamber is magical. Been around for centuries. No pony knows who built it." Draconic looks back and forth at Darkstar and Thunderstorm, then says, "Promise me one thing, Thunderstorm." Thunderstorm looks at Draconic. Draconic says that no matter what, you will never turn evil. Thunderstorm says, "Do you know me?" Draconic says, "I'm serious, Thunderstorm." Thunderstorm says, "Okay, sorry. I promise. Now, let's get Dad back to your lab." Draconic says, "He's heavy." Thunderstorm says, "Be a stallion, you mayor." At Draconic's cat lab, Draconic says, I'm not a mayor." Thunderstorm says, "I know. Ready?" Draconic says, "Ready." He stands beside Thunderstorm. They both close their eyes and start to focus. Draco screams, "Stop! You'll kill yourselves!" Thunderstorm says, "Huh?" Draconic says, "Doctor?" Draco says, "The two of you are only strong enough together to bring back one pony. 3 too much for only 2 ponies. It will kill you both." Thunderstorm says, "Stop reading my books and give them back to me." Draconic says, "How many ponies do we need?" Draco says, 4. Draco leaves the lab. Thunderstorm closes his eyes and calls out to them. In his mind, Twilight, JT, Soul Silver, Tinker, come to Draconic's lab. We need your help with something very important. He opens his eyes. Draconic's eyes glow completely white. Draconic says, "Where am I?" Ruins? Bodies? Countless bodies. Why? A dying pony grabs Draconic's hoof. Draconic says, "Huh?" The pony says, "When night goes dark, all hope is gone." The pony goes limp. Draconic says, "No, wait, what do you mean?" Thunderstorm's voice says, Draconics! Draconics! Y'all alright?" Draconic's eyes go back to normal. Draconic says, "Thunderstorm, I just had a glimpse of some past." Thunderstorm says, "Was it a good past?" Draconic says, "No. Ruins and countless bodies everywhere. This dying pony grabbed my hoof and told me when night goes dark, all hope is gone. He died after that." Thunderstorm says, "When night goes dark, all hope is gone. What does that mean?" Draconic says, "I have no idea." Draconic says, We're here. Thunderstorm says, good. Let's get started. They stand beside each other and close their eyes. Thunderstorm says, they start to focus. Sorry. Their horns start to glow. Slowly time reverses around Luna, Celestia, and Darkstar. Their bodies slowly undecompose. In 1 hour, they're back, in the same position they died in. Thunderstorm and the others open their eyes. Luna, Celestia, and Darkstar look around in surprise and shock. Their healing chambers open. They step out. Luna says, "We're alive?" Celestia says, "How are we alive?" Darkstar says, "Best guess? Reverse a death spell." Celestia says, "Darkstar." Luna smiles and says, "Darkstar." Darkstar smiles back and says, "Luna." They walk over to each other and kiss. Darkstar says, "I love you." Luna says, "I love you too." Celestia says, "I'm going to be sick." Thunderstorm walks up to Luna and Darkstar and says, "Mother, Father." Luna smiles even wider and says, "Thunderstorm." Darkstar says, "My son." All three hug. Celestia says, "Draconix, my son." She hugs him. Draconix says, "Mother." Celestia says, "Watch Darkstar. I don't trust him." Draconix says, "I will." Luna says, "I missed you so much, son." Darkstar says, "I missed you too, son. So much." Thunderstorm says, "I missed you both too." Luna says, "I'm still stepping down. This is yours and Draconix's kingdom." Darkstar says, "I'm stepping down too. You're still the king of the Dark Ponies." Thunderstorm says, "Never said I wasn't." Darkstar says, "Well played." Celestia says, "This is yours and Thunderstorm's kingdom. Me and Luna still step down." Draconix says, "Okay." Celestia says, "I miss you, my son." Draconix says, "I miss you too, mother. So much." Thunderstorm says, "Want to meet your granddaughter, Dad?" Granddaughters. Sorry. Darkstar says, "Hey, yeah, let's go." Luna laughs and says, "I'll go too." Thunderstorm says, "Good. Rain will be happy to see you. Let's go." A pony born from light and dark, torn between both sides, each calling, neither far away. End of Chapter 4. The Brony Adventures 4, Chapter 5, Darkness Falls. Thunderstorm says, "Dad, meet Rain. Rain, meet Dad. Y'all talk. I got to find Firefly." Thunderstorm walks into the hallway and finds a window. He flies back to his castle. Thunderstorm yells, "Firefly!" Firefly says, "What's up, Thunder?" Thunderstorm says, "Tell me about the dying pony." Firefly says, "What? How do you know about..." "Okay, fine." Nala says, "Sounds interesting. Can I listen?" Firefly says, "Sure, I guess. I'll start from the beginning. I was only a colt, 5 years old when they came. It was a bright, sunny day. Then, out of nowhere, the sky filled with darkness. We didn't know what it was. Then it landed, and we saw that it was ponies. Dark ponies. My dad confronted them. There were thousands. One mare smirked at my dad. Then she stabbed him in the chest with her horn. He falls down gasping for air, trying to breathe. Mother tries to run to him, but 100 dark ponies descend on her. All I hear for hours is her ear-piercing screams of pain and her cries for help. When her screams stop, the dark ponies move on to the rest of the town, killing and destroying everything. I just stood there, frozen in shock, shaking with tears falling down my cheeks. They didn't kill me. They left me there. For days I heard ear-piercing screams of ponies being killed and the cries for help from the ones dying. Finally all was silent. Nothing but silence and the wind blowing. I had to leave, so I did. I was almost out of town when a dying pony grabbed my hook and said to me, "When the light goes dark, all hope is gone." He looked at me like he wanted to say more, but slowly his eyes closed and his grip loosened. His head hit the ground. That was the last straw. I ran far, far away from town. Then I fell to my knees and cried for days. At some point, I went to Equestria. I chose to raise myself. I went to the same school as Thunder. The minute I saw his black coat and red eyes, I hated him. He started talking to me after a few days. We kind of became friends. It wasn't until we were 6 that we became true friends. I took my dad's watch with me everywhere. He had given it to me when I was 4. One day at school, some bullies took it, so I tried to get it back. I was half dead when Thunder showed up. He took one look at me, then at the bullies. That was all he needed. His eyes glowed red, and his armor appeared. Storm clouds formed over us. Thunder told them to give him the watch, then leave. They laughed and asked why he cared so much. Thunder said, "He's my friend, and no pony hurts him." Then he screamed, "Now give me the watch." The bullies said no. The note leader punched me again. That was the last straw. Thunder broke them. Literally. Their legs, hooves, wings, tails, backs, and noses. Then he healed me and helped me up. He handed me my watch and asked if I was okay. I said yeah. "Thank you." Thunder said, "Anything for a friend." From then on, we were true friends. He protected me, and I protected him. Thunder is a pony I would die for. Thunder smiles and says, "I'd die for you too, Fire." Nod says, "Wow. I'm so sorry about your parents and your home." Firefly says, "I have a new home now. Here. A new family too. Thunder and Applejack." Darkstar says, "I'm so sorry, Firefly." Firefly says, "Darkstar, you're alive?" Thunderstorm says, "Dad, I thought you were talking to Rain." Darkstar says, "We were, but I want to get caught up with my son first." Firefly says, "He's alive?" Darkstar says, "I gave those orders to attack your home. I know I can't make up for it, but I'm truly, deeply sorry." Firefly says, "I got to go. See you, Thunder. See you, Nightlock." The door slams shut. Thunderstorm says, "Firefly." Nod says, "Poor guy." Darkstar says, "I did a lot of evil, but this hurts the most." End of Chapter 5. The Brony Adventures 4, Chapter 6. Solstice. Rain says, "I'll go talk to him." Thunderstorm says, "Thank you." Soulsaber says, "Thunderstorm." Thunderstorm says, "Soulsaber, why are you here?" Soulsaber says, "It's an emergency. Come on." Thunderstorm says, Emergency? What happened?" Soulsaber says, "Just keep walking." Thunderstorm says, "What's going on? What happened?" Darkstar says, "Why won't you tell him anything, you little colt of a mare?" Soulsaber says, "I'll tell everything when we are in a good area to talk." Thunderstorm says, "You mean a private area?" "Okay, fine. Below Thunderstorm's castle in a secret bunker." Thunderstorm says, "How do you know about my bunker?" Soulsaber smiles and says, "Solstice sees everything." Thunderstorm says, "Who?" Bang. Thunderstorm falls down, knocked out. Soulsaber says, "We'll find out soon. Pick him up and let's go." Blizzard says, "Yes, sir." Underneath Candlelight's ruins in a lab, Scientist 1 says, "Is he sustainable?" Scientist 2 says, "Yes, sir." Scientist 1 says, "Is he restrained?" This one is powerful. We can't afford making any mistakes. Scientist 2 says, "He is, sir. Don't worry." Thunderstorm says, "Ugh." What happened? Where am I? Scientist 1 says, good, you're awake. I'm the top scientist here. We're going to reborn you. Dinosaur says, what? Scientist 1 says, we're going to erase your memory. Easy enough for you? Dinosaur's eyes glow red and his armor appears, and he says, let me go now, or I will tear this place and you apart. Scientist 1 says, there's that rage of yours. Keep letting it out. It's the reason Soldius wants you. Show him more. Dinosaur screams, ah! Why won't they break? Scientist 1 says, they were made to withstand your strength. Dinosaur says, how could you know how strong I am? Scientist 1 says, Solstice is just as strong. Start the machine. Dinosaur says, what? How? Scientist 1 says, good night. Dinosaur screams, no! Tell me! Who is he? Ah! Dinosaur's head drops. Scientist 1 says, goodbye, hero of light. Hello, Dark King. Hours later, in a room, Dinosaur says, where am I? Soda says, home. Dinosaur says, who are you? Soda says, first answer me this. Who is Draconics? Dinosaur says, I don't know. Soda smiles and says, good. My name is Solstice. I'm the one who has taken care of you since your parents died when you were just 8 years old. Dinosaur says, I don't remember them. I don't remember anything. Soda says, you had a bad head injury while flying a few days ago. We don't know when your memory will come back. Thunderstorm says, who am I? Soda says, you're Thunderstorm, the Dark King of the Dark Ponies. You work for me. Thunderstorm says, okay, so what can I do? Soda says, you have amazing power, strength, speed, and much more. You control thunderstorms. Your anger is the key to unlocking your true power. Dinosaur says, so what do I do for you? So the smiles even wider and says, you destroy whatever I tell you to, and all I want you to do is destroy Draconics and every pony that tries to stop you. Keep his urns separated. Dinosaur says, you want me to kill a pony? So this says, it's nothing to you. You've done it a million times. Dinosaur says, if you say so, how do I get to him? So this says, Silver will show you the way. Silver says, yes sir, let's go. Dinosaur says, this doesn't feel right. Silver says, it is, trust me, I erased you. Dinosaur follows Soul Silver. Silver says, blind fool. In front of Draconics' castle, Dinosaur says, why me? Soul says, you're best qualified. Draconics is tough like you, but you're more powerful. Dinosaur says, I'll be back. Soul says, I trust you will be. Bring his head. Dinosaur says, as you wish. He enters the castle and screams, Draconics! Draconics says, yeah bro? Dinosaur's eyes glow red and armor appears, and he says, he's right. Anger does work. The storm roars. Draconic says, what's going on? Thunderstorm says, I don't know why, but Solstice wants you dead. I'm here to do it. Draconic says, what? Who's Solstice? What are you talking about, Thunderstorm? A lightning bolt strikes Draconics. Draconics falls on one knee and screams, ah! What are you doing? We're brothers by pact. Thunderstorm looks up to Draconics. He raises his wing, the armor glinting in the sunlight, and says, I know no pact. Rain screams, Daddy! Thunderstorm says, Daddy? Rain says, Daddy, what are you doing? Thunderstorm says, who are you? Rain says, I'm your daughter. Don't you recognize me? Draconic says, he messed with your memory. Thunderstorm says, no, I have no kids. He starts to bring the armor down to Draconic's neck. Remember Dash screams, Thunderstorm, stop! Thunderstorm says, Dashi? He screams, ah! Dragonet says, remember. Thunderstorm was at Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash says, Thunderstorm? Thunderstorm says, Dashi, I love you. He hits the floor. Rainbow Dash screams, Thunderstorm! Rain screams, Daddy! Dragonet says, who is this Solstice? And where did he come from? Outside of the castle, Soul Silver asks, where is he? Brady says, Soul Silver, I need you, honey. Soul Silver says, alright, let's go. Brady says, I love you. Soul Silver says, I love you too. Come on. In Soul Silver's head, I need to get her back home. If one of Solstice's spies sees her, she'll be in danger. Brady says, why are you in such a hurry? Soul Silver says, I want to get home as soon as possible. Rarity smiles. Back in the castle, Rain screams, he won't wake up! Runish says, who did this? Who did this to you? Dragonet says, he'll be fine. He survived worse. Celestia says, what happened? Dragonet says, some pony named Solstice messed with Thunderstorm's memory. Celestia says, Solstice? No. Dragonet says, you know him? Celestia says, get Thunderstorm to an X-ray machine quickly. Dragonet says, why? Celestia says, no time, move quickly. Dragonet says, okay. End of chapter 6. The Brony Adventures 4, Chapter 7, An Old Enemy. In Hunter's lab, Hunter says, what is that? Celia says, nanobots. He uses them to erase memories every time they come back, only leaving the ones he wants them to remember. Hunter says, so how to get them out safely? Celia says, I don't know. Dragonet says, electrocute him. Hunter says, what? Dragonet says, it will cause the nanobots to short circuit. Hunter says, and kill him. Celia says, Zapper. Zapper says, yes, Auntie? Celia says, you control lightning, right? Zapper says, yeah. Why? Hunter says, are you both crazy? Celia says, strike Thunderstorm. Zapper says, what? My own brother? It would kill him. Dragonet says, he controls thunderstorms. I'm sure he can handle one lightning strike. I did. Celia says, I don't want to risk it, but we have no choice. Thunderstorm, the one we know, will be lost forever. A puppet for Solstice to control if we don't do this. Please, Zapper. Zapper says, okay, I won't leave my brother to be some pony's puppet. Hunter says, I can't believe we're doing this. I'll open the ceiling. The ceiling slowly opens. Zapper raises his wings. Clouds come together over the lab. Dragonet says, the clouds are white, not dark. Zapper says, you don't need dark clouds, just get lightning. The lightning pows and crackles. Thunderstorm screams, ah! Zapper, what's wrong with you? Dragonet says, Thunderstorm, do you remember me? Thunderstorm says, that's a stupid question. Of course I do. Why are we in Hunter's lab? Celia smiles and says, it worked. Hunter says, yep, the nanobots are fried. Thunderstorm steps out of the X-ray machine and says, I have half a mind to knock you through the wall. Zapper says, I had to save you. Thunderstorm says, from what? Wait. Solstice. He points his armor at Celestia. His eyes glow red. Then he says, who is he? You seem to know him, Auntie. Celestia looks at the floor and says, sadly, I do. Before you or Draconis came to Equestria, I had him made. He's an android, but he has skin and actual eyes, but inside, he's all machine. I had him made to help me protect Equestria because I didn't like the idea of humans being here. Your world is full of so much evil. Something went wrong. He turned evil and flew off. I haven't seen him since. Johnson puts his armor down and says, another android. No wonder he's as strong as me. Johnson raises his wings. Draconis says, where are you going? Jonathan says, to Solstice. Draconis says, not without me. Jonathan says, he tried to erase me. I'll kill him myself. Alone. Draconis says, but... Still says, he's stubborn. Jotar says, just like his old man. Draconis, help him. He'll need it. Draconis says, I'll bring him back. Jotar says, please do. My son, you still haven't learned how to swallow your pride, even in the most crucial times, and just admit that you're too weak to face something on your own. Underneath Candlelight's ruins. So Soldier says, he's back. Soldier says, I'll greet him myself. Soldier says, I'm sorry, Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm hovers above Candlelight and screams, Solstice! The storm roars. Thunderstorm says, Solstice! Soldier says, it's good to have sharp wings. What's wrong? Can't talk? Let me take my wing out of your back and stomach. Shh! Thunderstorm screams, ah! So, what's this? Thunderstorm falls to the ground. Draconis screams, Thunderstorm, no! Soldier says, pity. I thought he lasts longer. Draconis says, Thunderstorm, you monster! Soldier says, oh, do calm down. So this raises the wing that has Thunderstorm's blood on it and says, you'll join him soon. Draconis says, I'll kill you! So this says, you kill me? There's a better chance of a filly killing an Ursa Major. Nothing kills me. Draconis makes 8 supernovas. They combine into a black hole. So this screams, no! 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 Ah! So this is followed by the black hole. It closes. Draconis says, that killed you. Thunderstorm! Draconis lands in front of Thunderstorm. Draconis says, Thunderstorm, wake up, please. Blood pours from Thunderstorm's body. Draconis says, my brother, don't let him win. Please, wake up! Draconis drops to his knees. He looks at Thunderstorm and says, you've done and survived so much for so many ponies, including me. Please wake up. Soldier says, I can heal him. Draconis says, Soul Silver, how are you here? Soldier says, never mind that. We need to move fast. Soldier stands in front of Thunderstorm. He closes his eyes and focuses. Thunderstorm starts to glow. Slowly, his wound starts to heal. In a few minutes, it's healed. Soldier says, there. Tell him, I am so sorry. He runs off. Draconis says, for what? Slowly, Thunderstorm's eyes open, and he says, once again you saved me. I'm gonna be buried in debt. Draconis says, I didn't. Soul Silver did. He said he's sorry. Thunderstorm slowly stands up and says, he doesn't need to be. Draconis says, can you fly? Thunderstorm says, slowly, but yes. Draconis says, let's walk. Thunderstorm says, I hate to stay on the ground. I got to fly. Draconis says, just like your wife. Stop complaining and walk. Thunderstorm says, fine. He mumbles under his breath. Draconis says, if you're going to talk, talk where I can hear you. Thunderstorm says, oh, shut up. Draconis laughs. End of chapter 7. The Brony Adventures 4, Chapter 8, Chosen. A few hours later, Thunderstorm says, walking will take days. We got to fly. Draconis says, can you fly? Thunderstorm says, I don't only get strength from anger. I can always feel Dashy's love. Thunderstorm raises his wings and says, I can fly. Draconis says, love is the most powerful thing. In Draconis' castle, Thunderstorm and Draconis land. Thunderstorm falls on one knee and says, Draconis says, you okay? Rainbow says, Thunderstorm! She runs to him and says, what happened? Thunderstorm stands up completely. He smiles and says, nothing. You helped me get here. He kisses her. Magic sweeps over them both. Rainbow starts to glow. A horn slowly grows out of her head. She stops glowing. Draconis says, whoa. Rainbow says, I have a horn. Thunderstorm says, you are truly one. You are my princess. Rainbow says, I'm an alicorn. Luna says, yes you are. Rainbow says, Luna. Luna says, only when a prince gives up his powers in a kiss stronger than true love do they become one. Rainbow looks at Thunderstorm in shock and surprise. Thunderstorm says, for you. Anything. Draconis says, his powers are gone? Luna nods her head. Rainbow says, yet your powers. Thunderstorm says, mean nothing. You mean everything to me. She appears in her eyes and she says, Thunderstorm. She kisses him. The storm roars. Draconis says, I thought his powers were supposed to be gone. Luna smiles. The star gets beside her smiling and says, I don't want to miss this. 4 lightning bolts strike Thunderstorm and Rainbow Dash. A blinding flash goes out. Draconis screams, Thunderstorm! Rainbow Dash! Ah! My eyes! And the flash goes away. Thunderstorm and Rainbow Dash are wearing black crowns with Thunderstorm's key mark on them. Luna says, would you like to? Thunderstorm says, sure. He walks to Thunderstorm and Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash says, what just happened? Why am I wearing a crown? Thunderstorm says, I had no idea. Thunderstorm screams, every pony in front of the castle now, please! Thunderstorm's voice travels all through Equestria. Thunderstorm says, Dad? What's going on? Thunderstorm says, you'll find out soon. Come on, outside of the castle. Every pony in Equestria and in Thunderstorm and Draconis' castle get in front of Draconis' castle. Rain says, what's going on? Skula says, I don't know. Luna says, it's Mother and Father. Rain says, and Grandpa Darkstar. Skula says, why do Mom and Dad have black crowns? Luna, Rain, and Skula say, Mom has a horn. Darkstar says, every pony, welcome, the Queen and King of Weather. Every pony screams in excitement. Thunderstorm says, of weather. Rainbow Dash says, so awesome. Rain says, whoa. Skula says, so cool. Luna says, wow. Thunderstorm says, you will see over all weather. Every pony with the weather power is doing their job. That includes family. And Renat says, we won't let you down. Dr. smiles and says, you never do. Thunderstorm says, I don't understand. My powers are supposed to be gone. So he says, by getting up your powers and making Ramdash your princess, and the love and bond you both share showed that you both were truly ready to finally be queen and king of Weather. We didn't do it. Weather itself chose you. Thunderstorm says, the 4 lightning bolts. Brony says, exactly, my son, my daughter-in-law. I am so proud of you both. Celia says, we all are. Ramdash says, I wish Dad could be here. A tear falls down her cheek. Thunderstorm says, he is always with you, in your heart and mine. Together, we keep him alive. Ramdash smiles and says, thank you. She nuzzles him and says, you always know what to say. Thunderstorm says, I won't leave you hurting. I will always save you. Ramdash says, and I will always save you. Thunderstorm says, you do. Every day. Just by being alive. By being here. With me. They kiss. Crystal says, your dad is sweet. Rain says, thanks. He sure is. Crystal says, I wish I could find a pony like him. Rain says, you will. Someday. Crystal says, I hope so. Luna says, is that my amulet? Ramdash looks at the lunar amulet and says, Thunderstorm gave it to me after he proposed. Luna says, it was beautiful on you. Ramdash says, thank you. Thunderstorm says, son, I want you to have this. It's Dark Pony armor. It will enhance everything tenfold. Magic, speed, power, strength, etc. Only use it for an emergency. Thunderstorm says, I will. I promise. Thunderstorm says, there is a catch. The armor will drive your anger past rage, past everything you've ever been to before. It could kill you. Thunderstorm says, to protect Equestria, I'll take that risk. Ramdash says, to hey you will. Give me that. Thunderstorm says, got to catch me first. Ramdash giggles and says, I'll catch you. Leonard Darstar and Sotia watch them smiling. End of chapter 8. Yeah, that black armor around Thunderstorm's neck in the picture of him, that's Dark Pony armor. The Brony Adventures 4, Chapter 9, Dark Armor. Thunderstorm says, come on, you're faster than that. Ramdash says, you bet I am. Thunderstorm says, she's gotten faster. Bring it. Ramdash says, whoa, he's gotten faster too. I'll catch you. Thunderstorm says, they sure are having fun. Luna says, like two fillies. Celia says, they were right. With him, all evil ends. Joe Conant says, with help. Celia says, of course. Darkstar. Darkstar says, yes, Celestia. Celia says, how exactly does the armor work? It's just a black circle. Darkstar says, it's magical. When he truly needs it, it will spread all over him, becoming armor. Celia says, I see. She looks at Thunderstorm and thinks, I hope he never needs it. Draconis thinks, it's pretty quiet. N- n- Nothing's happening. It's too good to be true. Or is it? All evil ends. Maybe it's finally gone. The crowd of ponies in front of Draconis' castle turned into changelings. They attack Darkstar, Celestia, Luna, and Draconix. Thunderstorm says, You can't catch me! Better look! Get off of them! The dark armor covers Thunderstorm. Thunderstorm says, What? Changelings are hardly a emergency. Queen Chrysalis says, They're not, but I am. Thunderstorm's eyes glow blood red and his armor appears. The storm roars. Emberdash says, Thunder? Storm? Queen Chrysalis says, What a show of. Thunderstorm says, Shut up. Unless you want to die. Leave. Queen Chrysalis turns into Luna and says, You wouldn't hurt me, son. Would you? Shh! Thunderstorm's armor and his black armor covered wing go into Luna's stomach and out her back, dripping blood. Luna says, How could you? She turns back into Queen Chrysalis. Thunderstorm says, You are not my mother. Shh! He pulls his wing and armor out. Queen Chrysalis says, Ah! You're more evil than I thought. She falls to the ground. The changelings retreat. Thunderstorm lands in front of Queen Chrysalis. He raises his hoof above her head. She looks at him with begging eyes, blood pouring from her wound. Emberdash screams, Thunderstorm, stop! Thunderstorm says, Why? Emberdash lands on the other side of Queen Chrysalis and says, This isn't you. You wouldn't do this. It's Yammer. Take control. Please. Stop. Thunderstorm says, Listen to her. Don't let the Yammer win. Remember who you are. Thunderstorm says, She tried to control me. To use me. Rain says, Daddy, please, don't do it. You're not this evil. Thunderstorm says, If she's dead, her evil stops. Luna also to him and says, But doing it this way will destroy you. My son, take your hoof away. Please. Thunderstorm says, Okay, mother. Queen Chrysalis says, I knew you'd be too weak. Luna says, You're the one who's weak. You give into evil. My son doesn't. He is strong, not weak. Queen Chrysalis says, Go back to sucking your husband's horn. Thunderstorm screams, Ah! His hoof crushes Queen Chrysalis' head. Blood splatters everywhere. Luna says, My son. The armor goes back to a black circle around his neck. Thunderstorm says, I'm sorry, Mother. I couldn't let her live after she said that about you. Thunderstorm lifts his hoof, blood drips from it. Luna says, Are you okay? Thunderstorm lowers his hoof. He looks round at his family. He smiles and says, I'm okay. You're all safe, and that's all that matters. Luna smiles. She hugs him and says, Thank you, my son. Thunderstorm says, For what? Luna says, For having a kind heart and not losing it to that armor. Thunderstorm smiles and says, I was raised by an amazing mother. Tears slides down Luna's cheek. Luna says, Thank you. Thunderstorm wraps up wings around her and says, No. Thank you. End of chapter 9. It is 3:06 a.m. So we will stop there for today. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.